All right, welcome back, and we're here with Elizabeth Sturcken, Managing Director of EDF. Welcome, Elizabeth.
Thanks, I'm really excited to be here.
We're excited to talk with you. So the first question we want to ask is, what is your view of the current state of corporate net zero goal setting, and what do you think are the next steps to really leveling up?
Yeah, net zero is the hot thing right now, and many companies, as you know, have taken net zero goals, and I find that incredibly optimistic and exciting, and there's a ton of work to be done. Now is the time to really turn net zero goals into action plans and actual results. And so, when I think about what needs to happen over the next 10 years, reducing emissions, it's actually not even 10 years, right? 2030. Reducing emissions in half is really nothing less than the utter transformation of our economy. And so I really get a little concerned that we're seeing a lot of companies making commitments and not following up with important things like short-term goals, making sure that they actually hit that, cutting emissions by half by 2030, thinking about beyond carbon to consider short-lived climate plumes, for example, critical issues like saving tropical forests, and I'll say that using high-quality carbon credits is a great way to address that issue. And companies really need to take a holistic approach and consider climate justice and how we get to a net zero economy, consider toxic chemicals in their products. So this is not an easy challenge, but we really need everyone to step out and not be afraid and act.
So I think, we've been talking about individual companies, but the big challenge is there needs to be more collaboration, especially pre-competitive collaboration across supply chains, across industries. So where does EDF stand with that? I think you're a big convener of that, yeah?
Yeah, well, I've led a number of our one-on-one partnerships, like with Walmart, as John knows really well. And that has been great, and I think it's created a lot of change. But you're right, now's the time that we need to work together. And I'm really proud of an entity that we helped start with Microsoft called Transform to Net Zero, which is EDF and 10 leading companies trying to figure out how to get to net zero, helping other companies fast follow, and then importantly, doing the systems change that's needed to bring everyone along. And by systems change, I mean finance and I mean public policy. It's something that every single company should be thinking about right now. It's a hard thing in some ways because it feels far removed from climate goals, but in truth, no company can get there alone. They have to work together, and we need public policy, infrastructure, investment from government. So public policy engagement is super critical.
Definitely. So you mentioned things needing to be done in the next 10 years.
Yeah.
In your ideal world, what are the things that companies are doing in those 10 years to really address the climate crisis in the way that you think we should be doing?
Yeah, that is the question, isn't it? Yeah, as I said, I think setting goals is super important. I worry a little bit that companies are getting caught up in finding the perfect path and spending a ton of time baselining and measuring and accounting. Not that we don't need accounting, we'll talk, Carbon Call, we'll talk just in a little bit. We need to figure those issues out. I'm not saying we don't, but I think I don't want to, the push to act to get lost in all of the overwhelm that companies feel in this next 10 years. It really is a put one step in front of the other approach. Figure out your baseline, but pretty quickly do the things that you can do to reduce emissions in your operations, energy use, then engage your value chain and supply chain. And it's really, I think if companies go after the big opportunities where they can really reduce emissions, if they look holistically across their operations and their value chain and like think about, okay, where's my biggest unique opportunity as a company to push change? That's where you go, and that's where you go big. And if we do that in the next 10 years, I'm hopeful. And I will say one more thing, which is companies need to ask their tier one suppliers to set goals and come along. And be transparent, report. You know, it's a little scary with a lot of spotlight being shined.
We're here.
Yeah,
we're running out of time.
done.
Sorry.
Thanks.
All right, we've
I have
been
a
here
lot
with
to say,
Elizabeth
Josh.
Sturcken, and you should reach out to her because she has a lot to say.
So much. Really appreciate the opportunity.